Now joined by Baylor outside linebacker coach Caleb Collins. Caleb, thanks for joining us today, man. Congrats on the last couple wins. How's everything going for you?
Oh man, first off, man, just want to say thank y'all for having me, man. Everything's good. Everything's good, man.
Good. So I know looking back to the 2023 season, I know that's kind of like in the rearview mirror. You're not really thinking about it too much. But last year, there was some struggle with the pass rush. I know
hmm
it was addressed in the offseason with some of the stuff that you did. That team averaged like 1.2 sacks a game against the
Yeah.
conference opponents. But here in 2024, this team has completely flipped the script, averaging almost or 2.5 against the conference opponents. What has
hmm
changed and how important is your position group to that boost with Steve and Garmin and Kyler and all those guys just making plays?
Yeah, man. I straight up say that. I think just opportunities to rush is one thing, but then yeah, also I just think pairing up with Coach Noakes, man, has really helped me a lot. As far as just keeping things simple, I think Garmin and Steve, man, those guys are, they got the tools. I think where I come in and where I help them is just like, hey, like eliminate some of the thinking. Hey, eliminate like what's your fastball, what's your go-to, what's your counter, rather than teaching a bunch of moves, really just teaching more series, meaning like, all right, this is my move every time, and based off what the tackle give me, I may counter and do that. And I mean, really, that's what we've been teaching since fall camp, and it's been working for us. Some of the stuff I mean has been around for so long. I mean, you talk about like teaching progressions from like Pete Jenkins and just old school legendary D line coaches, but it still works. So it's like I mean, that's probably that's the cool thing about it.
Coach Steve Linton kind of had a up and down season at Texas Tech last
Mhm.
year, but it really seems like he's hitting his stride right
Yeah,
now as this season has gone on. What
I
have you
agree.
seen the biggest development out of him since he's arrived on campus?
I think just openness. I think some of it, when he kind of got here initially, he kind of gave us a little pushback on like, oh, y'all want me to drop here, y'all want me to do this here, y'all want instead of just like go, 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 go. But I mean, just trying to get him to understand like this is all going complete you as a player. Like this is gonna make you the total package rather than just a guy that teams can maybe take away by just saying, hey, let's double this guy, or let's slide it to this guy, let's do this. But in the spring, I think it was a lot of pushback. It was just like, hey, like man, y'all thinking this, and I just think one day it just clicked for him, like, hey, like Coach Aranda has passed the test of time, has had top 5 defenses after top 5, top 10 defenses. Like we ain't changing, bro. Like you get what I'm saying? So I think, he kind of realized, hey, I can find my groove. Like, I can still be myself, but just fit into the system. And I think that's really worked for him. And, us as coaches also have just found ways to put him in positions to have success.
Yeah. So on the other hand, you have a guy like Garmin who decided to come back for an additional year this
Right
year.
on.
What was his main focus coming back for this additional year? What obviously last year I know he dealt with some
Yeah.
injuries and battled through those things, but what was his offseason like trying to get better for this last year?
Yeah, I think he wanted to like just one, I think he wanted to leave on a winning note. I mean, we still trying to accomplish that. I mean, what I'm saying, I think Gorman is somebody who really cares a lot about winning and losing. And I know that really bothered him last year going 3-9. So I think that was number one reason he wanted to come back to, with Matt and like to, with as seniors, as these seniors to kind of put together, just a good something good to leave on and hang your hat on. And I think his focus really has really just been like again just being consistent. I think at times he last year was just was up and down, and I think this year he's really just trying to be consistent, and I feel like he has really done that.
I feel like with what y'all did through the transfer portal and just how y'all have kind
hmm
of recruited the edge position, it feels like y'all are trying to get to a point where you'd like to have two edge guys on the field a
Right.
lot more. Do you think that's kind of a focus for y'all for this season and future seasons?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's Coach Aranda's baby, man. I mean, since I've been with him at LSU, we've always called it as our peso package. It's some people do everything just out of nickel, which is your 3 down linemen, which are your 5 DBs. But Coach Aranda believes in being multiple. Being able to be a nickel 3-4 base team, but also being able to light them up some and go peso. So yeah, well, I mean, we've, with having Gorman and Steve and Kajo and, I mean, Kyler Jordan, I mean, those guys have really, you know, given him the tools he needs, to do his stuff. So that's one thing that we've really taken pride in, that I've just teaching it all and letting them go out there and, give Coach Aranda the bullets he need in his gun, basically.
Yeah. So looking back, really, it's that Colorado game, and then
Yeah.
through this point, you have faced some similar offenses in that they want to throw the ball, they want
Yeah.
to do a lot of different things, but they're different. And then TCU this week, like it's kind of going back to Colorado a little bit. But
Yeah,
what are the
yeah.
differences
No,
between
man,
you
you own it.
see?
Yeah, you right on it. I mean, that's what my guys talk about. Like, of course they want to rush the pass and they want it to be, drop back pass, not always like play action pass and shots like like your Utahs or maybe your Iowa States. So they excited. I mean, we excited about just the opportunity that's in front of us this week.
What would you
You just
say?
spot on.
Yeah. So what would you say the biggest difference in what you're seeing from TCU than maybe Oklahoma State or
Hmm.
Colorado or Tech? I mean, is there anything that different that they do that really stands out?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, great teams, but I think the biggest thing is that Tech and Oklahoma State are going to do everything that they can to establish the run game. And they're gonna keep trying that. And the pass game, even though they have explosive passing offenses, is really more like it opens up off the run game. I think TCU, I think they are a little bit more like, hey, if the run ain't working, cool. Like let's try to create more explosive plays through the pass game. And I don't think they're gonna just constantly consistently try to establish the run game. And, that's what my guys like. They like to know, hey, it's P and 10, but I could be getting a pass read, like it's clear as day that the offensive line giving us pass keys and stuff like that. So I think that's the biggest thing is they know, like, with a Texas Tech, we knew like our goal number one for that game was stop counter. Like that was goal number one, and we knew they were gonna keep trying to run it. Wise, this week it's it could be P and 10, 1st and 10 within a series, and they'll go 5-step drop back pass. Like that's something that we wasn't getting a whole lot out of Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. So.
Good insight.
Coach, this offseason, y'all also brought in another transfer in Jacquez Evans from Western Kentucky. He's only played in 3 games so far. Do you think
Right.
he'll get mixed in a little bit more throughout the weeks going forward?
Yeah,
Or?
possibly. It's been a little bit mainly injury. He started off the season in camp, had a lingering meniscus injury. They went in there and kind of cleaned it up. And again, when at the times where it hasn't bothered him, he is productive. I mean, he's a productive player. But I think it's just working him in. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to test out his knee, letting him continue to get it stronger.
Yeah, so you mentioned Coach Noakes and coaching
Yeah.
there on the interior of the line.
Yeah.
What has he brought to the entire defense? Obviously, he has a relationship with Coach Aranda, but what's his
Mhm.
energy like? How valuable is he for you as a resource to lean on?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned from day one was like, just his sternness. Like, if something is supposed to be a certain way, if he's coaching something and something is supposed to be a certain way in meetings, like you could tell his whole group owns the fact that like, nah, like we gonna do it this way. And I think that was just something for me, you know what I'm saying? Like it seems like the last 2 years with multiple transfers, new additions, this and that. It's like, hey, let me try to win these guys over and then try to, try to boom, be stern on them. But like, man, I just learned that from Notes. Like, nah, like you gotta be stern, from day one, and then, like just show them that you love them and appreciate them. But like, I mean, the ball is the ball. Like they gotta do what it is, and it ain't no compromise on that. So I think that's that. And then I think the second thing is just man, sure, he a dang good coach. I mean, he's coached guys like Aaron Donald and TJ Watt, and the list goes on. And it's like, shoot, you see why those guys have the success that they have. Cause I mean, he keeps stuff simple. And I mean, he just demands it and he puts the time in. I mean, Noakes is one of the first ones here day in and day out. So he's just an old school, like OG, stern coach. Like he just ain't going for nothing. Like that's just him, man. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Coach, when you're out on the recruiting trail or when you're looking into the transfer portal and you're evaluating your position, what are some of the top traits you're kind of looking for your edge spot?
Yeah, man. I think I love length. Like I think, man, just if you're gonna be short-limbed, if you're gonna be like, not necessarily like playing with a whole bunch of separation, you better be like a freaking explosive, twitchy, like hard to block son of a gun. But I think just guys with just natural length and pop can, extend themselves. Like even though we gonna typically being on the line of scrimmage, we gonna lose the weight battle. We gonna typically be outweighed. But if you can get a good strike and have some separation, man, all plays are yours to make. So I think that's a huge thing for me. It's like if you're not gonna be a long guy, you better be a freaking explosive, like get on, get off of blocks guy. So I think that's one thing. And then I think just pass rush ability. I know that's kind of hard. Like, what is pass rush ability? but I just mean like just a natural knack for getting after the quarterback, man. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I think I'm gonna teach it. I got my teaching progressions, this and that, but it's like it's gotta be something in the kid that's like, coach, like let me rush. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I want a guy that's like they tell Coach Aranda tells this story all the time about when he first got to LSU. And he was installing his defense, and like I think there was maybe a scrimmage or something. And he said Arden Key was like, "Hey, coach, what's them calls? What's the call that I rush?" And coach was like, you talking about Saw?" He's like, "Call that one." But he tells that story jokingly, but it's like that's the type of guy you want. Like, coach, I would drop out of respect for the scheme and the defense, and I would drop like out of respect for, again, want to be multiple and this and that. But coach, I want you to know at the bottom of my heart, I want to be getting after the quarterback, and that's the guy you want. That's the guy you want when I'm out in recruiting and stuff like that. Like, the guy who may be playing some safety and is a freak athlete and this and that. I still may have some question marks on, like, does he want to get after the quarterback? Like, he could be, 5-star, 4-star, this and that athlete. But like, if I put him in the trenches, is he gonna be able to win against that tackle? I feel like that's something that I think is huge evaluation on that. Like, even if you aren't the most athletic guy, which we love athletes like that, if I just see that you got like a knack for getting after the quarterback and winning one-on-ones, then shoot, you're gonna probably be high on the board.
Yeah. So for this week specifically, I mean, we know it's TCU, and I know that y'all have been around long enough. You kind of know the fans' perspective on the TCU matchup. Has this week been any different for you guys in prepping in the energy level in terms of being TCU, or is this just another game at the end of the day trying to win one?
Yeah, I think definitely, man. I mean, after everything we done been through from last year to this year, I just think, man, like we just nobody want to go back to that feeling. Like, I just think like we want, granted, I mean, some of it is a faceless opponent. We could be playing whoever. Nobody in this building wants to go back to the feeling of defeat. So I just think that and it continues to mount. Week after week, it just continues to mount since the bye week. It's feel like it's like, granted, we got, whatever TCU rivalry, all that, and that adds extra. But I think the biggest driving force is like we've been saying this is the team we are all year, and year after year, you get tired of saying, hey, we got a good football team, we got a this and that, like we are. You get tired, and like, boom, to explode like we did versus Tech, to win versus a gritty team fighting for everything like Oklahoma State, like it's now really saying like we are the team who we thought we were. Like, let's not go back to being that team we were for those 3 losses in a row.
Coach, do you feel like there's just this kind of different mentality and momentum right now in the locker room, just after, going through the struggles and feeling like you're a much better team than your record says, but then kind of turning this corner off of the bye week? Do you get the sense of that a little?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm gonna give credit. I definitely feel like, the offense really have been rolling. I feel like, what I'm saying, like even, Iowa State, to one of the top 2 defenses in our league, even versus them, you saw like, boom, we talked about all week starting fast, and shoot, offense came up, put up 3 scores like that. Like, what I'm saying? And I mean, of course, the game went how it went, but I feel like they have been really, I think, the bye week for us defensively, and just having a leader like Coach Aranda, man. Thank God for Coach Aranda, but just like really being able to say, hey, it's a lot of stuff you could throw up on the wall and say this, what, X, Y. These are the things we need to get fixed. I think that was huge. And, all of us as coaches owning that and saying like, hey, these are the things we need to get fixed. And I mean, it started from practice 1 in the bye week, subtracting things, simplifying things, putting our guys in position to play fast, being careful how we coach things, being careful about how much information we give to those guys. All that stuff has really flipped the switch for us defensively. And granted, we ticked off. We gave up 2 late garbage touchdowns versus Texas Tech. You would have thought that Sunday meeting when we got together as a defensive staff, you'd have thought we lost how Coach Aranda was on us. So, I mean, and even versus Oklahoma State, we were super excited about the success we had in the run game. But, I mean, just other things in the past, really tackling. I ain't going to even say the pass. It was tackling. Hard to really enjoy the win when that's the case. So another opportunity to get it fixed this weekend. We excited about that.
Good. Coach, we really appreciate your time visiting with us, and good luck the rest of the season and obviously this weekend against TCU.
Man, thank y'all for having me, man.